During each decade of life, there are different things to plan for when it comes to your retirement. Today we focus on what to do in your 60s.
Healthcare, Social Security, and planning for your RMDs are all important in this decade.
Join us right now for Retiring Today. Welcome to Retiring Today. This is part 2 in our series, Retiring Through the Decades. Today we're focusing on what to do in your 60s. We already did an episode on what to do in your 50s. If you'd like to watch that, you can go to YouTube and search Merkle Retirement Planning. I'm here with Loren Merkle. He's a certified financial fiduciary and a certified financial planner. Loren, today we want to tell the story through the eyes of John and Sue. John and Sue, we took them through their 50s. We talked about some of the decisions they had to make. That's the show that's on YouTube. Today, we're going to take John and Sue through their 60s. What's kind of the overarching things they're thinking about in this decade?
Yeah, in this decade, they're thinking about when are they going to retire, and when they retire, how are they going to cover some of these things that they've always been thinking of, but they just never had to make these decisions before. So some of these things are going to be, well, what are they going to do from a healthcare standpoint? Because John and Sue, for much of their career, have had their group healthcare option. Well, when they retire, they're going to have now a whole host of different options that they're going to have to select from to provide their health care. And those options are going to change depending upon what age they are. So as an example, at 65, they have Medicare as an option. Prior to 65, they don't have Medicare as an option. So what are some of the other options they're going to have to sort through as well? They're going to have to determine where they're going to get their income from. They have a lifestyle they've grown accustomed to. They want to maintain that lifestyle. So where's the income going to come from? They have a number of different resources to take the income, but how are they going to manage that income, not only at point of retirement, but make sure they still have enough 10, 20, 30 years into retirement as well.
And I think the neat thing is, yes, for John and Sue or whoever you are sitting out there, this will be the first time that you've made these retirement decisions. But because you've been doing this for over 20 years, you've helped people make these decisions hundreds and hundreds of times, and you apply some principles that you know because you've been doing this need to be part of the retirement plan.
Most definitely. One of the most common pieces of feedback that we get from families that we start working with is, I want to make sure I get this right. They realize you have one shot to get this right. They're starting to identify some of these decisions that they're going to have to make, and you start to realize most of these decisions are permanent decisions. Once you elect your Medicare Part A, that's a permanent decision. Once you elect your Social Security, that's a permanent decision. Once you elect your pension, these are decisions that you cannot undo in many occasions. So you want to make sure you get it right. You want to have confidence as you're navigating through this minefield of legislative changes and all these decisions you have to make, and that's the value of that comprehensive retirement plan.
Okay, let's go back to John and Sue. They're in their 60s. They're concerned about healthcare. I think healthcare can drive the decision about when they retire. So let's talk about maybe the options they have before 65, before that Medicare eligible age, and after 65.
Yeah, and in this example, we're going to assume that John and Sue retire at 65. Okay, so at 65, they're going to retire. Let's take them prior to age 65. Prior to age 65, they're on their group healthcare coverage plan. But what if John loses his job? His plan to retire was at 65, but life doesn't always go as planned. So John was carrying the healthcare option. John was let go from the position. Now, John and Sue need to find another healthcare option. They have an option to take COBRA insurance for 18 months, which means that they can be on the group healthcare plan. They are responsible for the cost of that healthcare plan, but because it's group coverage, it is probably less expensive to John and Sue than if they were to go out to the true open healthcare market, because it's a group plan as opposed to an individual plan. So they could take the healthcare, the COBRA coverage for 18 months, but what happens once that 18-month expires and they're still not 65, what are they going to do for healthcare? There's a couple other options they can look at. They can look at the Affordable Care Act. The Affordable Care Act is wildly misunderstood, and the Affordable Care Act eligibility is not asset-based, it's income-based, which means that John and Sue, if they have a little bit of cash that they can live on from an income standpoint, so they're not having taxable income from pre-tax IRAs or even their Social Security, they could live on cash, have no taxable income, which means they could pay no to very little premium on the Affordable Care Act. So that could be an option that they could explore. And by the way, that could be an option that they decide to take even over COBRA. So if right away when John loses his job, if that's a better option than the COBRA insurance, then they could go with that up until 65 as well. And then once they obtain the age 65, then they're going to transition to Medicare.
And then typically it's Medicare, you move into Medicare, and then maybe some supplements to cover whatever Medicare doesn't cover?
Yes, as complex as Social Security is, we talk about this a lot. There's up to 81 different options that John and Sue would have with Social Security. Medicare is even more complex. So there's Medicare Part A, and then there's Medicare Part B. Those are the common pieces of Medicare most people are familiar with. If you have worked long enough, you're not paying for Medicare Part A, but you will pay for Medicare Part B, and there's some planning strategies that will go into this, because if your taxable income is too high, you're going to pay more for Medicare Plan Part B than what you otherwise had to. So part of the strategies that John and Sue will look at prior to 65 are maybe some Roth conversion strategies. But some of that tax planning, some of those Roth conversion strategies could increase their taxable income to a point where they're going to pay a lot more for their Medicare Part B, and Medicare Part B looks 2 years back at their income. So John and Sue, once they obtain age 63, have to start being careful about what their taxable income is with some of these tax planning strategies, or their Part B premiums are going to increase as well.
So possibly doing the Roth conversions before 63 might be a good strategy for some people?
For those of you who are prior or younger than age 63, you have a real opportunity potentially to incorporate some of these really cool tax planning strategies that will increase your current taxable income, but may not impact what your Medicare Part B premiums are. But let's say, like in John and Sue's example, they're 63 now. They still might want to engage in some of these tax planning strategies, even though it could increase their Part B premiums, but that's all a part of the evaluation. The important part is you evaluate all of these moving parts, and then you can make your decisions based on the information that you have, the accurate information. You can make these decisions with confidence, because you know the decisions you make today, they're going to have this type of implication down the road, positive or negative, and you can make these decisions with eyes wide open.
We've been chatting for about 8 minutes, and we've already kind of really dove into John and Sue and what they can do with healthcare and how to cover it with their specific situation. Just imagine if you had 15 minutes to talk to a retirement planner about paying for healthcare as you get set to retire. Here's a great opportunity. It's a complimentary 15-minute retirement checkup call. Go to merkleplan.com right now, and you can get on the calendar of the retirement planners here at Merkle Retirement Planning and schedule your complimentary call today. So Social Security, it's a big piece of income for many retirees. Loren goes detailed on John and Sue and the decisions they can make when retiring today continues.
When planning a big trip, do you like to look up points of interest, read restaurant reviews, or map out how to take the scenic route? You may spend days or even weeks getting ready for a week-long vacation. What about the 20 or 30-year journey that is retirement? Join us April 27th at the FFA Enrichment Center in Ankeny at 6:30 p.m. for a complimentary workshop, Journey to Retirement. What you can learn at this workshop will help you plan for the most exciting journey of your life. Register today at merkleplan.com.
Retirement looks a little different for everyone. Retirement with government benefits requires a little extra homework to fully understand the terms used, calculation of benefits, and options you may have. Join Loren Merkle Wednesday, April 28th at 11:30 for a complimentary online workshop on government benefits. Register today at merkleplan.com. That's MERKLE plan.com.
Welcome back to Retiring Today. This is part 2 in our series, Retiring Through the Decades. Today we're focusing on what to do in your 60s. Loren, we've got John and Sue. John and Sue are in their 60s, and they're thinking about making that Social Security decision. And it's not real clear-cut what to do. There's a lot of options.
I don't know how it could be clear-cut, because there are a lot of options. In fact, up to 81 different options that John and Sue have. And as they try to investigate what is the best option for them to select from, they get bombarded with all of this different noise, whether it's this article over here, this article over here, this family member, this coworker. Everybody's telling them something different. They should take it at 62 right away. because they don't know how long they're going to live. Social Security is going broke. Well, but wait a minute. No, you should wait as long as you possibly can because you're going to live forever and you need to maximize that payment. So they hear all this stuff, which just makes this decision even that much more hard.
Yeah, it's somewhere in the middle of 62 and 70 is your full retirement age, and some people see that number and say, that's exactly when I have to take this benefit. But we know that the best way for some people to learn is just looking at an example, looking at the numbers and seeing how the scenarios can play out. So we've got some really neat graphics here, really neat part of the story for John and Sue.
Yeah, we sure do. We had this a couple different options that we're going to walk you through for John and Sue, and we're going to do it on the board. I'm going to walk over here to the John and Sue Social Security board, and we're going to walk you through a handful of options that John and Sue have. Now, it's important to understand you can't walk through all of these different options manually. So we use technology to narrow down all the different options that John and Sue have to a handful, Molly, a handful of manageable options that they have that now they can sort from, and then we can put those options into their retirement plan to help them identify this is the best option for John and Sue. So let's walk through this and we'll see if, Molly, if you have any questions for us.
Okay, I'm listening.
All right, here we go. So John and Sue, they're going to retire at 65 and 64 in this first example. And when they retire, they're going to take their Social Security benefits right away. So they retire at 65, John's 65, Sue's 64. They're going to take their benefit. John is going to receive about $2,400 a month for his benefit. Sue's going to receive about $1,100 a month for her benefit. Now, if you add those monthly benefits up over the course of their expected lifetime, then the total lifetime benefit for John and Sue is going to add up to be a little bit over $900,000. Okay, so if John and Sue are looking at this prior to making their decision, their retirement decision, their Social Security decision, they can take this information and they can say, yes, that looks like it works okay from a monthly standpoint. It certainly adds up to a ton of money from a lifetime standpoint. This is the first part of them investigating. Does this option make sense for them? Is it a viable option? But John and Sue, they want to see what other options they have with their benefit as well. So we're going to keep digging. We're going to keep going. So another option they have is what if, and we get this question a lot. People come to us all the time and they say, what if I work one more year? Or what if I work 2 more years? What's it do to my Social Security payment? Through technology, we can identify that prior to them actually making those permanent decisions. So in this scenario, John works all the way up until 69. Sue works until she is age 67. They both take their benefits at 69 and 67. So John's monthly payment, monthly income is going to be about $3,400 a month. Sue is going to increase her payment up to $1,200 a month. Again, if we add up the monthly payments through the course of their entire lifetime, now their lifetime total is going to be over $1 million. So they're looking at these two different options. They say, what if we take it earlier, retire and take it earlier? What if we work a little bit longer, take it a little bit longer? Then the difference between the $1 million and the earlier benefit, that's part of their equation. They're going to weigh that out. But again, they have more options. So let's take a look at another option that they have. In this scenario, scenario number 3, we're going to go back to John and Sue retiring at the original retirement date, 65 and 64. Except for John's not going to take his Social Security payment right away when he retires. And this is an important distinction because your retirement date, when you actually stop working, and when you take your Social Security payment can be 2 distinct things. They don't have to happen simultaneously. And that's what John's going to do in this scenario. Sue is going to take her payment right away when she retires still. But John's going to wait all the way till 70 because he knows he gets that 8% guaranteed increase on his monthly benefit from full retirement age all the way up to 70. That's 8% guarantee a month, or 8% guarantee a year. So instead of taking it right away at retirement age of 65, he waits and his payment is $3,600 a month. Sue's payment is by herself a little bit over $1,000 a month. So in this case, Sue took hers at 65, John waited, and at 70 when he turned his benefit on, this makes Sue eligible for an additional amount, which is her spousal benefit. So she is eligible for an additional amount, and now her total payment increases to almost $1,150 a month. So again, if we combine their monthly income amounts, their monthly payments over the course of their expected lifetime, If we total it all up, it's valued at just under $1 million. So I find this extremely interesting. By the way, so does John and Sue, because what they have always heard is if they delay, which in this case John did all the way till the maximum age of 70, then that is the best scenario. But if we add up their monthly payments over the course of their lifetime, what we can see is option one, scenario one, produced about $915,000. Scenario two produced the most, which is over $1 million. And then scenario three produces just under $1 million. So scenario three, Molly, is where John waited all the way till age 70 to take his benefit. And it produced not the highest amount. It didn't get over that $1 million. When in scenario two, when John took his at 69 and Sue took hers at 67, that actually produced the biggest lifetime benefit.
Yeah, about $20,000 more, right?
Right. So the question for John and Sue is, does it make sense for them to take their benefit a little bit earlier, John in this case taking it a full year earlier, receive potentially a higher lifetime maximum, or does it work better within their overall situation based on what they're trying to do from a tax planning standpoint, from a lifestyle standpoint, what their life health is, what their health is, all that's going to influence it. So what this does is it gives you information as far as, if you select this option, here's the benefit you're going to receive. If you select this option, here's the benefit you're going to receive. And now you have this information at your fingertips so you can make those decisions with confidence and know that 5 years down the road, you're not going to think back and say, wow, I wish I would have made this decision. Or I didn't realize I had all of these options and here's the impact it's going to have on your retirement short-term and long-term.
Is there ever a time when it makes sense to continue working but elect Social Security?
Yes, most definitely it can. And we have a number of families that are still working and taking their Social Security. Because one of the hardest parts about retirement planning, Social Security planning, any of this type of planning is, when's your last day? When is your last day going to be? Nobody knows. So the longer you delay, you are risking that you are going to pass away sooner than later. Because if you knew you were going to pass away sooner than later, you're going to want to take your Social Security payments sooner than later. Once you obtain full retirement age, you can make as much money as you want to. You can make $10 million a year and still take your Social Security payment and not be penalized. If you take your Social Security payment prior to your full retirement age, that's where that earned income limit comes into play, where you could be penalized based on how much money you make.
And these lifetime expected numbers we're looking at, are they taking them out to what the expected life expectancy is right now for a male and female, like 86, 87, somewhere in there?
Yeah, what we're using from a life expectancy standpoint with John and Sue in this example is John passes away at age 87 and Sue passes away just under age 85.
Okay, great job. I understood all of it, and that just shows the power of planning and what to think about.
Yeah, most definitely. What this does is it gives John and Sue information. It gives them information prior to making these permanent decisions, so they feel much better, much more confident about making these decisions, knowing they're making the best decision for them based on real information that is theirs and not based on water cooler information or what their family members said they should do. It's their information, it's their decision.
That was a great example of Social Security, but Social Security is just one of the many pieces of your retirement vision, your retirement journey. There's a lot to learn about. We'll tell you about a great opportunity to learn more about your retirement vision when Retiring Today continues.
Women face a unique set of challenges as they travel to and through retirement. From investments and caretaking to increased longevity and healthcare expenses, women face it all. How do you manage these concerns and also fulfill your retirement dreams? Join us at Prairie Moon and Ames on Wednesday, May 19th, starting at 6 p.m. for a special workshop designed for women, taught by women. Register today at merkleplan.com.
Retirement looks a little different for everyone. Retirement with government benefits requires a little extra homework to fully understand the terms used, calculation of benefits, and options you may have. Join Loren Merkle Wednesday, April 28th at 11:30 for a complimentary online workshop on government benefits. Register today at merkleplan.com. That's MERKLE plan.com.
Welcome back to Retiring Today. This is our series, Retiring Through the Decades. We're focusing on the 60s today, but we did do an episode on what to do in your 50s. You can find that on our YouTube channel. It's Merkle Retirement Planning. I am here with Loren Merkle. He's a certified financial fiduciary and a certified financial planner. And part of that, Loren, means that you're looking for ways to put more spendable money into people's retirement plans. And one thing to do is look at RMDs and look at taxes and see what you can do for a couple like John and Sue.
Yeah, tax planning is one of the things that you can incorporate to make the biggest impact on how much of this money that you've saved you can actually keep over the course of your retirement. So John and Sue is an excellent example, and this is a real couple, by the way. Of course, we changed the names and changed some of the details, but this is not an uncommon scenario. John and Sue were watching the TV program. They called us up. They wanted to know what it would look like to work through our process and what their actual retirement plan would look like. So I sat down with John and Sue. We had a great conversation. And part of that conversation was John and Sue said, we're not really looking to change advisors. They've had an advisor for 20 years, really good friends. They go to church. I mean, they have a great, they're not looking to change advisors, but they saw the show and they realized that their advisor wasn't talking about the same kind of concepts that we talk about, which Molly, we've talked quite a bit. That's not uncommon. There's a lot of different types of advisors, accumulation advisors, retirement planners. You need an accumulation advisor during your accumulation years. And then when it's time to retire, you find yourself making a lot of decisions you never had to make before. And that's where you need a specialist on your team, a retirement planner. So I was talking to John and Sue and said, yeah, that's okay. Yeah, I know you have this great relationship. Let's just walk through this analysis. That's the next step. So the first meeting, we were just talking about their concerns, their thoughts, and what they're trying to accomplish. We agreed to get together again where we went through an analysis of here's some of the opportunities that John and Sue have. And part of the focus was this topic right here, tax planning. Because John and Sue, one of their concerns was not, are they going to run out of money? They knew they had enough money. Their lifestyle, they knew exactly what that was going to cost them. That wasn't their concern. Their concern was is they spent 40 years saving this money. They have some very specific legacy ambitions, and they want to make sure they make the most out of this money that they have saved. So in that second visit, we walked through a couple tax planning strategies that they can incorporate. And we also walked through what if they didn't incorporate tax planning, because that was the road they were on. They admitted they hadn't had tax planning conversations with their advisor, their friend. They also, when they go to their CPA, the CPA wasn't providing tax advice either. In fact, this part is funny. Maybe it's not funny. I don't know. But they said when they went to their friend, they saw the show. We were talking about the tax stuff. They went to their advisor, asked them for this tax planning stuff. The advisor said, go talk to the CPA. Yeah. And the CPA is like, I don't do that stuff.
Right. They don't do the planning. They more do the recording for you.
That's right. They file the taxes, and that tells everybody what happened prior year. But that doesn't say, here's the strategies you should incorporate long term to save on your overall tax bill, long-term tax bill.
And then you look at that and say, hey, here's what we've done hundreds of times. Here's how we look at 5 years down the road. Paying more now to pay maybe less later. I mean, that's what long-term tax planning looks like.
That's right. That's what long-term tax planning looks like. We have to forecast forward and say, here's the tax situation, here's your future tax environment, here's your current tax environment. If we do nothing, this is what it looks like. If we incorporate this strategy, this is what it looks like. So that's what we did for John and Sue. And we said, if we do nothing, then once you obtain age 72, once John and Sue obtains age 72, now their tax bracket skyrocketed.
Because of RMDs.
Because of RMDs. So this is where we get to the RMD story. So John and Sue had Social Security. They incorporated a Social Security maximization strategy. And once they're 72, they were mandated to take distributions from their pre-tax accounts, and they couldn't control that. So they had to take out a mandated amount, which shot them into a much higher tax bracket. And from that moment on, throughout the entire course of their retirement, they were in a higher tax bracket. Now for John and Sue, we were assuming tax rates stayed the same for the next 30 years. We don't feel like tax rates are going to stay the same. You probably don't feel like tax rates are going to stay the same. You probably feel like tax rates are going to increase. So we were just assuming they stayed the same. They were going to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars over the course of their retirement in federal income tax if they did nothing. So we showed them, here's some strategies you can incorporate right now and for the next 6 years prior to obtaining age 72. And if you did this, then your tax bill from 72 on is going to be significantly lower. And if we compared the two outcomes, the two results, do the tax planning now, ignore the tax planning, it was going to be $350,000 estimated of tax savings over the course of their retirement.
That's significant.
It's significant. So John and Sue, what they looked at me and they said, we have a great relationship, friend of 20 years, we got to make a change. We got to make a change. And I think it was John, I can't remember, maybe it was Sue. One of them said, we're going to see how good this relationship is, all right? How good this friendship is. Does the friendship exist outside of this financial advisor-client relationship, or does it not? But they had to make a decision that was right for them. They knew they were not getting the retirement planning from where they were. They needed it, and it was going to save them hundreds of thousands of dollars by incorporating these strategies. So that is something that, and when John and Sue made that decision, they felt great about it because they knew what they were going to get, and they knew what they were getting, and it worked out well for John and Sue.
And there's a lot to think about when it comes to retirement planning. Lauren just spent some time talking about the tax aspect, but we know that there are several guiding principles, several pieces of the retirement journey. Here's a great opportunity. It's our complimentary Journey to Retirement workshops. You can go to merkleplan.com. You can do these in person if you want to come and take all this in person, or you can do it for the comfort of your home online. Again, those complimentary workshops are at merkleplan.com. Loren, the workshops are just a really good place to get started.
It's a great place to get started. Retirement planning is so complex, it's so broad. Through the Journey to Retirement workshop, you're going to be able to identify some of the areas, some of the strategies that you can incorporate to help what it is you're trying to accomplish to achieve your retirement vision.
And we'll continue talking about your retirement vision on this show. It's Retiring Today, and we thank you for watching.
When planning a big trip, do you like to look up points of interest, read restaurant reviews, or map out how to take the scenic route? You may spend days or even weeks getting ready for a week-long vacation. What about the 20 or 30-year journey that is retirement? Join us April 27th at the FFA Enrichment Center in Ankeny at 6:30 p.m. for a complimentary workshop, Journey to Retirement. What you can learn at this workshop will help you plan for the most exciting journey of your life. Register today at merkleplan.com.
Thank you so much for watching Retiring Today. We hope you've enjoyed the show.
See you next week.